Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Fang, and in this video I'm going to be bringing you kind of just like a match of me playing FIFA Ultimate Team with my MLS Bronze team as I go over a little bit of a story. I guess we're going to do some story time. I hit 4,000 subscribers and I'm even surpassed that. Since the Kick TV Invitational video, I've gotten like tons and loads of subscribers, which I'm so grateful for. Thank you to all you new people coming in who are getting to recognize me through that tournament. But it gave me 4,000 subscribers, which is not my next milestone. I think my next one was actually like 5,000, so I'm not doing anything like too extravagant for it. I just know that last time I told y'all like one of my stories on where my life could have been different. Everybody really liked it and liked to see it over some FIFA gameplay. So by the way, this match was really close, and he really made me angry half the time I was playing it, but I somehow ended up just freaking mollywhopping him. And that's what he gets for being a little baby back bitch. But anyway, this story is going to date back to, I don't even know the year because I can't really remember. It's been so long, but I was 19 years old. So just take this, 19 years old, it's New Year's. I think I had just turned 19, possibly just turned 20 actually. I think I just turned 19. And I'm out New Year's, I'm with my boyfriend, I'm with a bunch of guy friends. We're at my friend Chris's house. We're having a really good time, and everything is going really well. Another group of friends of mine show up there who are kind of like an older group of guys. I've been in college, but we still come back on the holidays and hang out with everybody from high school. So these guys had showed up, and it was like Zach and Randall and all these guys who I known that were like really, you know, like hot shot football players, good looking guys. And one of my friends from high school, Jenny, had a major crush on one of them. She always had, all through high school. She'd always thought that Randall, he was like her brother's, one of her older brother's best friends. She always thought he was so good looking and all this stuff. So it was cool that he'd showed up, and I think they had semi been talking. She had like prior to that broken up with her boyfriend maybe 2 or 3 months before. She had just started going to school, and it just wasn't working out. She was with her high school boyfriend for like 3 or 4 years, who she's actually together with now today, way later. So if you ever like feel like, oh my god, me and my boyfriend and girlfriend or whatever are breaking up for college, this is going to be the end of the world, you never know. There might be points in time where it might come back to where y'all are actually like in love again and you stay together, you're soulmates, you're meant to be. But anyway, back to my story. So he shows up, and I know Jenny is not anywhere near me. All my girlfriends, I decided to go to this because this was like my boyfriend's friends and kind of my best guy friends, and all my girlfriends went to Granbury, which is like 45 minutes away, and they went to this huge lake house party, and there was like, I forgot the guy's name. It was like this like 50-year-old dude who liked to throw parties for people in my grade. You can only imagine he's probably like a pedophile, but he never tried to flirt with any girls or anything like that, so maybe he was just like a nice guy. But anyway, it was a long night. I had a ton to drink, which is terrible. I was under the age of 21. I do not condone ever doing that. But I'd had so much to drink, and at some point during the night, I'm calling her and like, Randall's here, all this stuff, and she's like, oh my god, Randall's there. And she calls me, and I guess apparently they're in Granbury, and something goes down. Some thug shows up to this party, and they get in a fight, and this guy pulls a gun out, which is unheard of. I swear to God, somebody text messages I don't get a text message for hours, but every time I do a commentary, text message comes, get the hell out of here. Anyway, so a gun gets pulled on the party, and to this day, like, I have no idea why they didn't just like call their parents to come pick him up or whatnot, but Jenny calls me, and she's like, this gun got pulled in this party, and la la la, and I'm like, oh my god, we have to go pick her up. I'm in like freak out best friend mode. We have to go pick her up. And so I'm freaking out, and I'm like, Will, we have to go pick her up. Randall, you know, you and Jenny, y'all are talking, you should be going to get her, you know, she's in danger, all my friends are in danger. And so I somehow convinced Randall, who is extremely intoxicated as well, and Will, who is like half asleep. Like, I literally had to drag him into the car, and he slept the entire way there. I convinced them to get into this car, and we drive 45 minutes, which is terrible. It's another bad drinking driving. I think actually Randall wasn't too drunk. He was just kind of drunk. So that's why he was the driver. But anyway, we drive. He's a terrible driver. It takes 45 minutes to get there. I thought it was 15 minutes away, but apparently it takes 45 minutes to get there. And Will's not even happy. He just fell asleep in the front seat. And we're trying to find this place. We're like doing a meeting point because they're going to get dropped off by another group of people who wanted to stay, like go back to their lake house and stay there. And they were like, no, we want to come back in town. So we go and we're driving around. We get lost in some country road. And we end up like doing all these like swoovy curves and stuff. And it was just like nauseating. And at one point we have to stop. And Will is just completely sick. He gets out of the car. He freaking pukes on what looks like a mailbox. And I was like, what is that? So we like flashed the lights of the car, and where we were, it was a church mailbox. So if anything was not going to happen at that point, bad karma was bound to happen. So we we leave the church mailbox that he puked on, and we finally find this like parking lot area where we're going to pick these girls up. And maybe 10 minutes later, they show up. There's like 10 people in this car, loaded in this car. 3 of them get out. It was Laurel, Callie, and Jenny. And they get out, and we're like, oh, we're so glad to see you, so glad everyone's safe. And it's like a good time, you know, happy moment. And everything's going just spectacular. And then out of nowhere, like, who picked them up? Let me think about this. I can't remember the name of the person who dropped them off, but she leaves, she takes off, and it's literally, it doesn't even feel like it's like boom, boom, 2 seconds later, they pull out and drive away, and then boom, whoop, whoop, the police pull up behind us, and I'm like, what? What is this? What is this sorcery? And so, police officer pulls up behind us, actually 2 of them. I guess they had dispatched to each other, and they didn't go for the other car, which was lucky for them, glad for them. We hadn't started the car yet, though, which was the most important key factor for us that night. We had yet to start the car. There was no keys in the ignition. They come, we're about to start it. We're like literally in the car, all of us in the back seat, with purses loaded with wine bags and stuff like that. So we're in the back seat, and Randall is just about to start the car when they pull behind us. They freaking just come up to the windows, and they tell Randall to get out of the car. They don't even tell Will to get out of the car. They open the right door. He's asleep. He's completely asleep. They grab him. These are some hillbilly cops, by the way. They grab him and just slam his face on their cop car. So at that moment, I'm like protective girlfriend, so I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And I'm like ripping out of the car, like, what the hell is wrong with you? Just screaming at them. And they're all, everyone's like, calm down, like trying to get me to calm down. And I'm freaking out, like screaming at them. And they're like, y'all have been drinking. And I'm like, no, I have not been drinking. Although I've totally been drinking. But you don't ever admit it. And so I'm like, no way, I have not been drinking. You cannot put that on me. And I'm like saying all this stuff. And, they're taking the guys away. And they're telling Randall he's going to get a DUI. And it's just like this nonsense. And this all seems like it takes hours. We're just standing there waiting. And they're like, you're going to do breathalyzers. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do a breathalyzer. You're not going to make me do that. You can't prove that I've been drinking, and you're not going to make me do that. They didn't search the car. But I'm sitting there, and like everybody around me is drunk, so they all smell terrible. Like just totally full of it. So I always to this day feel like that's why I got in trouble. But they handcuffed the guys. And they start saying, like, talking my friend Jenny into like, if you're sober enough, all you have to do is blow into this breathalyzer, and if you're sober enough, then we'll let you drive your friends home. And she's like, yeah, she thinks she's sober. She really did, because she kind of was. And she's like, yeah, I'll totally do that. And so she does the breathalyzer, as well as the other 2 girls. All of them blow over the legal limit, and you're under the age anyway, so you're gonna get a ticket, and you're supposed to go to jail. And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, nope, I'm not gonna blow into it, and I never did. That entire night I never did blow into it. And they end up saying, well, it looks like the guys are gonna have to go to jail. We're gonna take y'all back to the station. You're gonna get a ticket, and it was a minor in consumption, I think. And then we're going to, you're gonna have to call your parents, otherwise you can't leave until somebody's completely sober. And we're like, what? And at this point, like, my friend Laurel's like freaking out. She's like, what? Why are the guys going to jail? What's making the guys go to jail? Like, that's sexist. And it was totally sexist. There was no reason that they needed to go to jail, and we didn't. And so she freaked out, and she's like, that is just sexist. And they're like, you want to go to jail? Do you want to go to jail with them? And she's like, yeah, I do. And then boom, they snap the handcuffs on her, and we're all just like, shut up, Laurel! shut up. And so they end up putting them all in jail. We were all just pissed off, or not jail, in the back of the cop cars to go to jail. We're pissed off. We have to ride in the back of a cop car, 3 of us. And so the entire time I'm sitting here like antagonizing the cops, like, why don't you take us to Whataburger? Don't you like donuts and coffee and like all this stuff? Just the stupidest things I could have possibly said, because I'm just like, I was a mouthy child at the time. And they're just like, keep it up. And I'm like, I'm hungry. You're gonna stop and get me food. And they're like, we've got vending machines at the police station. I'm like, all right, fine. So we end up showing up at the police station, and they drop us into the lobby, and they did not have vending machines. I was so pissed off. But we spend this whole night. None of our parents would come get us. They're like, you can just sit there and you can sober up. And we were like, thanks parents. But anyway, we're sitting there doing cartwheels, dancing the entire night. Everybody else is in jail. Unfortunately, I kind of would have been interested to see what it would have been like for us to go to jail, because we'd all be together and it might have been kind of cool, but I'm still glad to this day that I didn't. So we're sitting there. Finally, we talk a friend into coming getting us, and that guy, my friend Brian, was probably not sober either. And he decided to come get us with his friend Aaron. He got us like a hotel room for like 2 hours to sleep in, and then we had to wait. We went into this waiting process because you have to bail your friends out of jail. That's just what you have to do. You're a good friend. So we wait and wait and wait for them to get done. After jail, you have to go through this little trial period where they give you a bail or not. And so we notice that real soon Randall and Laurel come out, and we're like, oh my god, hey, yeah, sucks guys, you know, you're out, thank God for you guys. And then we notice Will doesn't. We're like, what happened to Will? And they're like, well, apparently Will said that he's not guilty, and that he's not gonna say anything until his attorney shows up. And because of that, because the judge there was such a biatch and she just wanted everybody to plead guilty, she gave him $1,000 bail. He had to set a $1,000 bail to get out of there. So he was stuck in there, and I was like, well, we gotta find a way to get this money to get him out. I hadn't realized that, you know, I told him I didn't want him to call his parents, because I don't know, at that time he'd been in so much trouble. I didn't want him to get in trouble. I wanted to bail him out, and we're sitting there. I have no shoes, by the way. This entire night, I had left my shoes back at the other place. So the whole night I was shoeless. And we're sitting there waiting to try to get Will out, and we're so disgusting looking, and out of nowhere, like literally out of nowhere, it's like one of those worst feelings you have in your like stomach ever, and you see like his dad, who looks like a freaking mobster, coming in there with a full suit on, glasses, just bust the doors open into the police station, and we're just like, oh shit. And so he busts the doors open, and, you know, we kind of go up to him, and we're like, this is what happened to Will. And he's like, the first thing he says to me is, Jesse, where are your shoes? And I'm like, I don't have my shoes. It was so embarrassing. We end up getting tickets. All of us get tickets. And some of us fought it in court. Some of us didn't. I hired a lawyer and fought it in court. I was actually, out of everybody who fought in court and some who didn't, I was the only one who had to pay the ticket fine and do probation. I had to pay $500 for the ticket. Somehow my lawyer just sucked. I should have got Jenny's lawyer, who's amazing. She got cleared off everything. But I had to pay $500 for the ticket. I had to do probation and community service. And so I was on probation for 6 months, community service, where I had to go into this food kitchen for like the homeless, and I had to make them tuna fish sandwiches and tomato soup. And it took forever to make that. It's disgusting the way they take all this tuna fish and they put it together into this one thing, and it's different kinds of tuna fish. It was so gross. The homeless people were completely ungrateful. They were just rude to me the whole time. And then they made me eat the food afterwards. They were like, you have to be gracious and eat this food because they have to eat this food. And so I was like, are you serious right now? It was just this freaking mess, and it was like a weird experience. I never got a ticket after that. That was my only ticket in my life. But I now know never to, for one, ever leave a house that you're at on New Year's. Don't ever do that. Don't ever drink and drive. That is terrible. And I probably have other stories where I've been a part of it, but I'm never usually the one drinking and driving, because I just don't want to have people's lives on my hands. But then I put my own life in the hand if I get in the car with somebody. So don't do that either. I hope you all enjoyed the story, though. I've had some crazy things happen in my life. I probably should bring more of these to you. If you're interested in hearing more of them, let me know. If it kind of just bores you, let me know that too. And anyway, until next time, get Fang Bang Nerds.